know. You love yourself from head to toe. You'd never be this sad or low if you knew the you that you don't know. If you saw the you that you don't see, you will feel so differently. You'd be as happy as can be if you saw the you that you don't see. You say, what a human, what a friend, what a model citizen. You know why the people love you so, if you knew the you that you don't know. If you heard the you that you don't hear, all the doubt would disappear. 'Cause you're so charming and sincere. You hear the you that you don't hear. What a human, what a friend, what a model citizen. You know why the people love you so, if you knew the you that you don't know. You may not see it for yourself, it's just everybody else. When the earth is old and cold and gray, and we're out beyond the Milky Way, who shall lead humanity? Well, I'd send the you that you don't see. They'd say, what a human, what a friend, what a model citizen. You know why the people love you so, if you knew the you that you don't know. Just how the people love you so, yeah, if you knew the you that you don't know. If you knew the you that you don't know. If you knew the you that you don't know.
Good morning. Welcome to Hilltop Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Terry Cornelius, and I'm your practitioner in service today. Welcome. So glad you're here with us. We are all in this together, and we're patient with the time that it will take that we all are safe before we get into our new remodeled spiritual center. I'm so glad you're here, and I want to remind you that we're always here. We're here for each other. We are a family, and that love that we share is the love of God. And the love is what dissipates fear. That is no good for us. It's the love that brings us joy. And at this time, I want to send love out to all the grandfathers and fathers, and to our sons who are fathers, and to a son-in-law who's a stepfather. I'm so grateful for these men in our lives. You are so loved and appreciated. And knowing that it's taking the first step towards joy and celebration in this wonderful place of Fallbrook, where we live and experience good friends, good life, and all that's coming towards us they're just gifts from God. And I am so grateful, and so it is. This reading is from Thomas Merton. Contemplation is more than an experience in prayer. It is the experience of seeing God in everyday life, coming to know one's true self, and learning one's relationship to the world. And so it is.
Padmanabham Suresha Shahantakaram Bhojagashayanam Padmanabham Suresha Vishwajaram Gagana Sadrasham Shahantakaram Bhojagashayanam Padmanabham Suresha Dominus illuminatio mea. Dominus illuminatio mea. Dominus illuminatio mea. Vishnu, Vishnu. Vishnu, Vishnu. Vishnu, Vishnu. Shahantakaram Bhojagashayanam Padmanabham Suresha Shahantakaram Bhojagashayanam Padmanabham Suresha Shahantakaram Bhojagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham.
Hello, and welcome to the Hilltop Spiritual Center. Happy summer solstice, this point within the year, the spiritual year, the geometric year, where it appears as if the sun pauses and the earth catches its breath. It's also a new moon, pretty powerful on the solstice, and an eclipse. One would say that this is very, very interesting cosmic weather that we're all experiencing. And of course, it's Father's Day. And to you fathers, to you grandfathers, to you great-great-grandfathers, we celebrate you. Some of you I know personally here at the Hilltop Center, and I want you to know that who you are and what you guys do, truly you're my personal heroes. And I'd love to be with you. And for those of you who are in the virtual world, all you fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers, from this virtual perspective, from the realm of the soul, we see you. We celebrate you for who you are and what you do. This is also the weekend of Juneteenth. It's probably no surprise to any of you that this is not a live stream celebration, that we create it throughout the week. As an example is that amazing meditation that you heard and experienced before this talk by Sherry Ahria was actually recorded last Saturday. And then Jeff Meacham engineered it. And then it was sent over to Michelle, who created the visuals for it. So throughout the whole week, we create this celebration for you. And it probably doesn't amaze you in any way that the last thing that is done is my talk. And so this is on Friday that I'm actually filming it. And it was interesting because this morning as I was sitting with having my coffee, I was reading the paper and I saw this article in the Washington Times. And it said this, it said that the National Archives yesterday, Thursday, located what appears to be an original handwritten Juneteenth military order informing thousands of people held in bondage in Texas that they were now free. As it goes on to say, it says, this decree in the ornate handwriting of a general's aide was found in a formal order book stored in the archives headquarters building in Washington, D.C. It is dated June 19, 1865, and it was signed by Major F.W. Emory on behalf of Union Major General Gordon Granger. And it says, the people in Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation of the Executive Order of the United States, all slaves are free. In order, it reads, this involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. It's a pretty remarkable thing, don't you think, that this was found with all the energy that's going on, and now as a nation we're beginning to realize how important it is for all of us to celebrate this. I'm sure because of all the attention that's being given, and somebody in the archives decided to look a little bit deeper because of what's happening and found this. It's timely. It's timely. was also reading this blog from Seth Godin, who's somebody that I like to read, and he says this in his blog post. He says, holidays are symbols. They can cause us to pause for celebration or grief, for togetherness or to simply smile. Holidays are worth recalling because they give us a chance to connect and recommit to an idea that matters to us. This is a holiday about freedom delayed. And perhaps that's an interesting idea for us to ponder on, both as individuals and collectively, where our freedom has been delayed. The author and farmer, the environmentalist and activist Wendell Berry says this. He says that there is no public crisis that is not private. And you know, one of the main tenets of New Thought, of which we connect ourselves to, was I think best articulated by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who says that we see the condition on the outside and we heal it on the inside. And if both quantum physics and what science is beginning to discover, and something that the mystics have always intuited, are right, that everything is interconnected and interdependent, this makes sense. If we want a better world, we start by cleaning up and healing whatever is ours to do. Anything that's not in alignment, we want to bring back into integrity. We want to bring it back into that sense of the vision that guides us. Carl Jung says this. He says that we can only take people as far as we've gone ourselves. And you know, freedom is a worthy ideal. Jean-Jacques Rousseau says this in the opening statement of his discourse on the social contract. He says that man, and again, excuse the language, it was written in the 18th century, man or woman or human is born free and everywhere find themselves in chains. Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. So today I want to talk about this. I want to talk about what it means to be free and what holds us back on that level, and how living a contemplative life in the world and seeing God in all things and everybody can break those chains that hold us back. The nature of anything, as we've been talking about all month, the nature of any one thing is what it is fully expressed. So the nature, as I said last week, of an acorn is an oak tree. And the very nature of who you are is who you are in the full career of your life. Who you are fully expressed as a divine idea, as a center of divine consciousness within the vast whole. That is the truth. That is the nature. That is the very essence of who you are, of who every living creature and what every living creature is. And so here's the question we ask ourselves is this, is where in each of our lives is freedom delayed? Because freedom delayed is freedom denied. And so pause and think about this. If who you truly are is who you are fully expressed, where are you not experiencing yourself fully expressed? And what is the story that you tell yourself about why that needs to be delayed? And in truth, what would you need to embrace to experience that? You know, to say these are interesting times is almost cliche, but they are. Are they not? And as we're celebrating Father's Day, we can reflect on this. And I want to speak again to you, dear fathers who are, and grandfathers, of course, and great-grandfathers, and all of you guys who are having to pivot, because it's an interesting time, is it not? Many of you are struggling. Many of you are making sacrifices. And some of you have, in our community, I know some of you have lost fathers. And some fathers have lost sons. And so some of you are celebrating, and some of us are grieving. But all of us are becoming deeply aware of the importance of remembering, of reconnecting, and to realize that what's being called forth in all of us is a new sense of how to express this, a new sense of how we experience this. You know, there's a couple members of our community that are celebrating the graduations of their children. And I was speaking to a couple last week, I guess it was, about this because their child had just graduated from high school, and how different it is for all of them, for this young lady who has been working so hard and looking forward to things like a prom, you know, this gala that's a coming of age experience, or to walk on a platform maybe for the first and only time in their life and be recognized and celebrated for the hard work that they have done, or the plans and the expectations of going away to college or going to work or perhaps joining the military and whatever it is, but really embracing that experience of independence, of freedom, and where that takes us. And yet what I know is for this couple, yeah, it's different. Man, it's really an interesting dynamic. But how to be creative, how to bring novelty, how to bring newness, and still celebrate this for what it is. You know, Joseph Campbell says that if you want to understand a culture, look at its art, look at its literature, its music, in our case, it's films and television shows and plays, because they kind of give us a hint to where we are. And I think about that growing up as a kid in the 60s, you know, what we watched and what was the TV shows, and bizarrely the tenure of the sitcoms that we watched every day. You know, years ago, I remember having a conversation with somebody who was saying, you know, that the television shows that we watch are really designed to become surrogate families for us. You know, we're with them nightly or weekly. We get to know them intimately of who they are. And so I think growing up, you know, who are these role models for us? You know, there was My Three Sons and Bonanza, which were both eerily missing the feminine. And then on the flip side, there were things like Bewitched and The Flying Nun, or I Love Lucy, or, you know, The Father Knows Best, and Leave It to Beaver. Now, Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best were kind of, you know, they were just too perfect, right? Nobody knew those people. And the other ones, you have these men that are, you know, wise and unemotional and stoic, who are sort of trying to ground and make sense of this hysterical and chaotic energy of the feminine. You know, what interesting stories, and how far from the truth. You know, a couple years ago, there was a series called Mad Men. And I remember I really liked, or I liked is an interesting word, I was really drawn to that because I was the same age as some of the children there. And I have to tell you, the world that I grew up was a whole lot more like Mad Men than Leave It to Beaver or Father Knows Best or Bonanza or any of those things. You know, those were the guys, you know, Don Draper and that character, how, you know, broken, sad he was, how searching, how lost he was I think more the norm of what we saw kind of growing up. And we didn't know any of those things. In his book, Under Saturn's Shadow, The Wounding and Healing of Men, the Jungian psychologist James Hollis speaks of 8 secrets that men carry. And for the sake of our conversation today, I'd like to mention 3. He says, first, men's lives are as much governed by the restrictive role, expectations, as are the lives of women. Second, men's lives are essentially governed by fear. And finally, if men are to heal, they must activate within what they did not receive from without. But I think that this is true of both men and women, both sons and daughters. because men and women often do live lives that are governed by the restrictive role expectations. You may even see how that's going on with you, certain expectations that you're just sort of required to meet and how you're supposed to show up. And they become a burden to us. And both men and women live lives that are governed by fear. In our world today, fear, anxiety, anger, rage, and really these latter two are just secondary emotions of fear in itself. And I think that fear really is, and the anxiety that comes with it, and the rage, that is the more dangerous virus that's out than the actual pandemic itself. And if we are going to heal, we have to activate within us what we did not receive from without. In his remarkable movie, actually just brilliant movie, I'm Not Your Negro, which is a documentary on the life of James Baldwin, he makes this really interesting statement. He says, not everything that we become aware of will change, but nothing will change without awareness. Not everything we become aware of will change, but nothing will change without awareness. And we're so easily distracted and pulled in the direction of one thing to the other, or we're trapped in expectations or roles that we can easily lose our sense of self. And then we fall into this and we experience this bondage. Henry David Thoreau says it this way in his lectures, his writings during the time of the Civil War. He says the mass of men and women lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation. And so how do we become a contemplative in the world? And how is that an antidote to living a life of quiet desperation? Living a life where we become a non-person. Terry gave us this timely, inspiring reading. Is this quote from the uber contemplative in the world, Thomas Merton, where he goes on to say, contemplation is more than an experience in prayer. It is the experience of seeing God in everyday life, coming to know one's true self, and learning one's relationship to the world. And I was thinking of that quote and just how timely and beautifully it syncs with that lovely that lovely song from Lee Coulter, at the opening of our celebration, where he says, if you knew the you that you do not know, or see the you that you do not see. That's it, isn't it? That's that experience of seeing the divine within ourselves. It clears the doors of perception so that we can see all things as they are, as divine. So how do we get there? Again, I think of Ernest Holmes, and he has this wonderful statement from his book, Words of Wisdom, where he says, if you listen to peace, you will experience it. If you listen to truth, you will hear it. If you listen to power, you will receive it. If you listen to wholeness, you will discover it. This is what Buddhism calls mental hygiene, where we know that we are what we eat, but in reality, we are what we think. And what we think, we come to believe. And what we come to believe, we begin to manifest stuff in our life. And so, how do we free ourselves from this? How do we begin doing this to be free by freeing ourselves? And by freeing ourselves, we begin to free the world. And so, my question for all of us today is, how do we go forward? How do we go forward encumbered and changed by the past? What we hear so much these days is wanting to return to normal. But I think that yearning to return to normal, which wasn't so good for most of the planet, I think what that really is it's a poverty in imagination. because what it lacks is possibility. What it lacks is novelty. Andruhati Roy says this. She wrote this brilliant essay called Pandemic as Portal. And she says this, historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It's a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcass of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our data banks, our dead ideas or dead rivers and smoky skies behind us, or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for that. So let us celebrate freedom delayed. And it's asserting itself today, so we can become part of that. And let's celebrate our brave fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers who demonstrated courage and novelty, loving us, guiding us, because in truth, they know the we that we do not see. And they saw the we that we did not see. And when we embrace that, we are indeed free. And when we are, we can free the world. Many, many blessings. Thank you for being part of this week's Hilltop Spiritual Center celebration. Here's our beautiful courtyard. And I don't know if you can hear the birds, but they just sound lovely today. So I want to thank the artists today for Lee Coulter's beautiful and inspiring song. In a few moments, you're going to hear a real friend of the Hilltop Spiritual Center, Ahria, as she sort of brings everything together with a song and an idea about love. And for that incredibly, hauntingly inspiring meditation by Sherry O'Hare. And if you like that meditation, if you like those musical videos, if you like any of the music videos that we have done or any of the meditations, at our website they are available to you. They're our gift to you. I'd like to thank Terry Cornelius for being our practitioner today. She chose Thomas Merton because she knows I love him. Thank you, Terry. And all of our practitioners. We come together almost weekly to pray, but daily, each of you are in our spiritual practice as we are holding the place for joy and health and well-being and abundance. And if you'd like prayer, please reach out. Again, at the website, you will find a way to submit prayer requests or contact information to reach out to us. I'd like to thank all the support staff that are working so diligently to create this celebration, as well as maintaining and all that it takes to run the center. And then you. And here's the deal. You know the drill. Like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, watch parties, invitations, ways that you are working with us as we collaborate to allow this Sunday celebration virtually to reach out across the world. Thank you for that. And again, for your continual and generous support. It's essential. We are here because you believe in the dream. And you demonstrate it in a tangible way. And again, there are many ways to give. And if you go to the website, you'll find them. And so, for all you guys out there who are dads and granddads, happy Father's Day. For everyone who is celebrating Juneteenth, how wonderful. Freedom delayed is now freedom that is growing and expanding. And to all of you, and to those whom you give love to and receive love from, many blessings. I so look forward to seeing you next week.
this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. And it's a love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.